April.
Sean, I have a couple of questions. I want to go back to the issue of this travel ban.
Well, first of all, it's not a travel ban. I think you heard Secretary Kelly, and I apologize. I just want to make sure I get this straight. I think Secretary Kelly or one of the other individuals that got up there from DHS mentioned, I think 1 million people have now come into this country. That's not a ban. What it is to make sure that the people who are coming in are vetted properly from 7 countries that were identified by the Obama administration. A ban would mean people can't get in. We've clearly seen hundreds of thousands of people come into our country from other countries. Sorry.
Mind you, I have 2 questions.
I know, of course.
So with all of this happening, and as you're trying to give specifics about what's happening, what is the concern about the fallout from other countries who are viewing this still in a certain way? Have you looked at the fallout and how to counter it and how to work with these other countries that may be allies or even may not be allies in order to prevent something from happening?
Well, I think, April, one of the things that we're doing is trying to make sure that people understand what actually happened. You know, I saw reporting today that Secretary Kelly was out of the loop and he was on a plane and flying, and then it was reported on one of the networks and major institutions about what happened. Secretary Kelly comes out and says, I was briefed on this time, I was talked on this time, the edits came from my staff. I don't know how, I don't want to spend each of these briefings talking about misinformation, but at the end of the day, a major newspaper and a major network reported today that they were kept out of the loop. The Secretary detailed multiple occasions in which he was briefed on it. His staff made edits to it. I don't know how much more, and so I think part of what we're trying to do is make sure that people actually understand what happened, what the process was, and what the order actually does. Because when we use words like travel ban, that misrepresents what it is. It's 7 countries previously identified by the Obama administration where, frankly, we don't get the information that we need for people coming into this country. Because what this isn't about is not just the people. It's about the information that another country provides us. So we work with other countries, and we have systems in place to ensure that when you travel from our country to or from their country to our country, or vice versa, that we are sharing information about passengers and citizens that are going in and out. These 7 countries in particular, we don't have the information that is necessarily required to make an accurate determination at the time of entry into our country. So we are going to make sure that because that country doesn't have maybe either the systems in place or in some cases the willingness to provide us the information necessary to ensure that the people that are coming into this country are properly vetted. This isn't about refugees, it's about travelers. And that's what this is about. And so part of what we're doing is frankly making sure that other countries understand exactly what was in the order, how it applies, what it means to visas and waivers and all this kind of stuff. But for the most part, you've seen a lot of panic and then people actually stopping, reading the order and realizing, oh, that's it? And I think that's where we've tried to make sure that people have the facts.
So you're doing outreach for that?
We're not just doing outreach. I think we're doing as many briefings. Secretary Kelly going out there a little while ago with the head of both ICE and CBP is trying to make sure that people understand that the process is working correctly. It's working very well, that the government is doing what it's supposed to protect its people. And that's the number one thing that we can do.
It's not a ban. This was President Trump's tweet yesterday. If the ban were announced with a 1-week notice, the bad would rush into our country during that week. So he says it's a ban.
He's using the words that the media is using. But at the end of the day, it can't... Hold on. It can't be... Jonathan, thanks. I'll let Kristen talk. It can't be a ban if you're letting 1 million people in. If 325,000 people from another country can't come in, that is by nature not a ban.
I understand your point. It
is
the
extreme
president
vetting.
Himself called it a ban.
I understand.
Is he confused or are you confused?
No, I'm not confused. I think that the words that are being used to describe it are derived from what the media is calling this. He has been very clear that it is extreme vetting.
It seems to fit into this broader point, Sean, which Paul Ryan said today. I think it's regrettable that there was some confusion on the rollout of this. The House Speaker saying that. What do you say to Republicans who argue that this is a part of a broader issue with the president not enacting this policy smoothly?
Well, first of all, I think we've addressed that we could have either telegraphed this days in advance in which people could have gotten on planes and come over here, which would have undermined the exact nature of what this sought to prevent. Or we could have done it in a way that inconvenienced some folks for a little while. Can I answer the question? No. I do. There's clearly some confusion, but I think part of it, your network was one of the people that just hours ago told people that General Kelly was unaware of what's going on, and then moments later, he gets on air saying, here's how many times I can brief. So, I mean, with all due respect, I think you have been part of the confusion. You have helped cause this. Despite claims that whatever, you claim that you have sources that tell us, General Kelly stands up and says, this is how many times I've been briefed, this is how many people are involved, and yet you were out there for...
I think there was a New York Times report that was cited.
Okay, so I apologize that NBC News' reporting is based on the New York Times false reporting.